Welcome everyone to presentation on alternatives to graduate school. My name is Carrie Latham. I'm a career counselor with the Student Success Center. We'll just wait for everyone to join. Sort of imagining you joining the classroom or the workshop room, and we're just going to wait for everyone to kind of get settled in their seat. So wherever you are, I hope you're comfortable. This presentation is going to be a little bit on the shorter side. It's probably going to be closer to a half an hour. But we have room for questions. Yeah, we'll just wait for everyone to kind of get settled in, and then we'll get started. And again, my name's Carrie Latham. I'm a career counselor with the Student Success Center. And welcome to Alternatives to Grad School presentation.
Thanks, Carrie. It looks like we've got most everyone on.
Okay, great.
Hi, everyone. My name's Rachel. I'm one of the events coordinators in the Student Success Center. I'm just going to be helping Carrie out today. I just wanted to start by asking you all to find the chat feature and having that open. Carrie has a few questions that she'd like you all to respond to kind of at the beginning of her presentation. If you don't mind also just using the Q&A feature to ask any questions. We are going to leave some time at the end for questions. Carrie's presentation is a little bit shorter today than some of the others, and so we'll go through that, and then we should have a good amount of time to answer those. The webinar is being recorded, and that will be on the Student Success Center's Further Education webpage. It'll probably be up by next week. And we'll also be emailing you a copy of the presentation by the end of the week as well. If you have any technical issues, please reach out to me in this chat and I'll do my best to resolve those for you. Thanks, everyone.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Okay, okay, let's get started. Welcome. So first of all, the reason why I developed this presentation was grad school is not the only option. There are alternatives. As a career counselor, I had a lot of students coming feeling very anxious about feeling like they had to go on to grad school, like that's the only option and that's the expectation. And I was like, no, 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 there are options. So I put this presentation together to let you know there are lots of different pathways that you can take with further education after your degree. So I'm just wondering, when you hear people go on to grad school, or what the pressure or expectation, or maybe you're not feeling it, which is lovely, but just wondering if you could, in the comment section, what do you feel is the expectation out there when it comes to grad school or not going to grad school? Or what are sort of the messages that you're hearing, good or bad, or maybe neutral? So if you want to just add some of the in the comment chat box a little bit of what you've been hearing about grad school or not going to grad school. Yeah. And I can just read some of those. Oh yeah, so if you get good grades, you're strong academically, you shoulds go on to grad school. Yeah, grad school is all about research writing. It's necessary to get a good job, is recommended for better jobs. It's just an expectation to continue on. Yeah, I hear all of those too. You can't do much with a bachelor's. I hear that too. I've heard people say, you know, undergrad's the new high school diploma. So lots of sort of, I guess, shoulds and myths, I think, around grad school, and a lot of assumptions. That's the big thing, is there's a lot of assumptions about what grad school is or why you should do it. Yeah, higher end jobs will only accept you have continuing education. So the thing is that, yes, lifelong learning is expected. So yes, it is a good thing to be constantly thinking about, well, not constantly, but be thinking about, how do I keep developing myself? The world is moving fast, lots of change. How can I make sure I keep up? So there's that. And grad school, sometimes it is required to go on to grad school for some particular areas and career areas, but it's not necessarily better. And it's not necessarily like something you should or have to do. Okay, so, and your timing for further education can really be on your own as well. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of some other options. And again, it's up to you really in your own self-directedness and your own sense of what you want to achieve and what's best for you when it comes to deciding what your further education options are or what your next steps are after your degree. So hopefully this presentation will just give you some ideas. Okay. So what are those other options out there? I'll take you through a few of them. Oops, sorry. Okay, so first of all, some other further ed options are certificates or diplomas. These are through the continuing education departments of universities. I'm going to show you our McMaster continuing education and just to give you an idea as well. There's also what's called graduate certificates. These are found at colleges. And I know a lot of time people think, oh, college is like for someone else, but actually colleges are amazing because they do have a lot of very focused specific fields. So sometimes doing some graduate certificates or certificates through continuing education departments are lovely additions to your undergrad. It's kind of like you've got the core undergraduate training, you've got some, either a specific field that you've been developing in regards to knowledge, but overall you've been developing critical thinking and communication skills and learning skills. That's so important now. That's like one of the biggest skills to have nowadays is to be able to learn. So your undergrad is solid, it's good, and then you can sort of top it up if you want with some graduate at a college. There's also accelerated or fast-track diplomas as well through the college programs. And then also some certifications through professional associations. So think about certificates and diplomas as other other sort of further education options. So I'm going to just show you a few when I mention that. So I'm going to stop share, and I'm just going to share my open up. It's not allowing me to open up. How come? Sorry, it's not allowing me to open up my site. Hold on. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, I have it figured out, I think now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is an example of McMaster's continuing education. So most universities have a continuing education department. And so you can see the types of programs that you can do here. So under the programs, you can do accounting, human resources, project marketing. There's a health information management. There's lots of things that other ways that you can do that. Data analytics. So these are, I find, the colleges and the continuing education departments tend to be more professionally focused programs. So if they're offering a program, it tends to be because they are looking at the job market and they're sort of trying to stay up on the trends. Still do your own research, but generally they're gives you a sort of good idea of what's needed out there. Okay, so that is the McMaster's continuing education. If you go through the colleges, it's ontariocolleges.ca. You go under the section under applying, and you can go to program types. And what I would look for is what's called these graduate certificate programs. These tend to be 1 year post-graduate certificates or post-diploma programs, sometimes they're called. And they are meant for people that already have some education already. And they tend to be more focused again. So you could do things like a public relations certificate or a marketing certificate, or I think I've seen some newer ones that are more tech focused, like a user interface design sort of thing. So lots of really neat programs. So you can use Ontario colleges and go through there and look at the graduate certificate programs or 1 year. The other thing you can do is professional associations. So for example, this is just one example, but Canadian Securities Institute. So these are sort of institutes or associations that are very focused on a particular field. And you can also look up them for like credentials and designations. And so you can look here for like a certificate in financial services or mutual funds, and things like that. So that sometimes too is a great way to add on to your degree, or if you are trying to enter a specific career field and you don't already have maybe a background in it, then you can think about these certificates as a way to sort of enter the field that way. Okay, another example, let me see, is like the Insurance Institute is another one where you can kind of get some certifications and designations through these institutes. Okay. So that just gives you an idea of sort of the different kinds of certificates that are available at a university, at so at a university, at colleges, and then also some of these like professional focused institutes. Okay, so there's also other options or things called second degrees. So these would be university degrees, and they tend to be more accelerated programs or shorter programs. So for example, you can get an accelerated nursing degree in 2 years. There's also a post-degree program here at Mac on social work. Computer science, I haven't seen a lot of them, but I do know I've found like a few. I think Mac has one, and I know UBC has one if you don't have any computer background at all. They have one that's geared for people entering the field, but it's more accelerated. And then things like a physician assistant program, which is a 2-year program. It's considered a second degree. So there are some second degrees you can look at as well. Some people have also gone on, and if they've taken a lot of courses in their undergrad, like a minor, you could also look at if you wanted to stay at Mac, and then maybe you could do like a BA in economics instead of taking a minor in economics. So depending on what you've already taken in your undergrad, you can sometimes do a second degree in a shorter period of time. So you'd have to talk to your academic advisor about that. Okay, but second degrees are another option, or accelerated programs. And then there's also very skills-focused courses that you can take. So maybe it's just taking a couple courses in web design or Photoshop, or maybe some more business-focused skills. Project management skills are always lovely to have. It's used in sort of a broad range of places, as well as maybe some professional skills in leadership or managing people, things like that. So these skills-focused courses are, again, you can find these at continuing education departments, colleges, continuing education departments of colleges, and then again, also privately too. So you could look at, I think Microsoft, you could look up some courses that they offer there through them, and you can get like a designation in being a Microsoft administrator. So privately, or maybe say more focused skills, depending on the area, you could look for that. But again, through the public institutions like colleges and universities are a great place to look at more skills focused. And a newer field that's emerging now is what's called micro-credentials. So you can just keep your eyes open for those too. And this is sort of basically, again, really shorter courses. They're wonderful if you've maybe you got your undergrad and you've got some work experience through summers or part-time, and you just kind of want to add a few more pieces to your portfolio. So you can think about these focused courses, or if you've been looking at job postings and you keep noticing out of one of the requirements, there's a specific skills, and it's maybe just a matter of picking up a course or two to add that to your resume. Okay. So the advantages of maybe doing some of these certificates, postgrads, diplomas, or short courses is, of course, they're shorter, they're less expensive. Generally, most, especially colleges, and like I mentioned earlier, they are more professionally focused towards workplace needs. And the applications tend to be fairly straightforward, so it's nice and easy. The Ontario Colleges site, I think you can apply to 5 programs at once, and I think it's $95. It's all through a centralized process. If it's through a continuing education department, like if you go through McMaster University's continuing education, it's just I think they offer courses that start like on a monthly basis, lots of flexibility when it comes to when you can start. You can pick up a course here, or you can work towards a certificate. So what's nice about it is there are flexible options, part-time, online now, and varying start dates. So that you don't have to wait a whole year. You can maybe think about starting. Some grad certificates I've seen through the Ontario colleges is sometimes they have start dates like in May or in January. So that's nice too. Okay, and then also some other advantages, especially I've seen these more with the graduate certificates at the colleges, that they do have some co-op options. So if you are thinking about how do I build some more career-specific skills, you can look for those. Also networking opportunities with peers and instructors from the career field. So doing a concentrated certificate in human resources, for example, you're going to be graduating with people that are all going into the human resource field, and it's a great way to network and do your job search, as well as when you take courses at a certificate through the continuing education departments. Usually those instructors are people that have worked in the field and have that professional experience. So it's also great to be getting good networking and opportunities to hear directly from the instructors as well. Okay. And the other option, of course, it's not necessarily further education, but I think it is still the School of Life is still an option. You develop so many skills and experiences just by being on the job working, and you learn more about yourself. You get good contacts, you develop networks, and it also give you a better understanding too of what you like and what you don't like, and it builds that confidence too. So think about entering the job market. We do have supports for job searching. I know sometimes it's a little bit, it feels so unknown about what kind of job to look for, or how do I look for work, but we do have supports at the Student Success Center, and we have a wonderful program called Job Search Essentials. If you're in your final year or you're an alumni, highly recommend it. It does give you the essentials of how to job search, and really job searching is a life skill nowadays. To know how to move into jobs and switch into jobs and change jobs is really something important to learn. So I encourage you to think about doing the Job Search Essentials course. It's on the Oscar Plus events listing page. But yeah, one option is just get out there and work, and you learn a lot that way. Okay, so sometimes I hear people wonder though, what will employers think? Will I be able to get a good job? And is it for me? So a lot of those, again, those uncertainties and myths. And so really when it comes to this, it's really the more you know about the field you want to go into, the better it will be to know what is the right education path. It's also, again, a personal decision too, like what you are ready for right now, your timing, your finances, maybe location, what you're ready for. Maybe sometimes these shorter programs are a little bit safer in the sense that it gives you a little bit more of a taste of it, and it's not as much of a commitment that way. So if you do want to shift paths, it's a little bit easier. And so when you think about your options, I would think about what you want, what your goals are personally, what your goals are academically, and what your goals are professionally. Okay, and then if you're not sure, then definitely come and look for career counseling support. We have, again, resources to help you with that. Okay. You might be wondering, how does it look on a resume? That's sort of another question sometimes people kind of go, how do I do that? So this is just an example. So if you're doing a certificate, you'd put it under your education. If it's maybe more of a like a certificate, like one or two courses, you could list it under education, or you could put it as more of a professional development, like I'm learning Python. Oh, I forgot to mention one other option for further education is are these free online courses. I think I missed a slide, but there are courses, Coursera and edX. I have a couple other resources, but there's these called MOOCs, multi-open online courses, and you can find courses from around the world. So you could take a fine art history class from Yale University, or Python for Everyone from University of Michigan as an example. So you can also go to these self-directed sites as well. And again, because learning and the ability to learn is a highly sought after skill, it actually is showcasing that you can be So it's a great example to show employers. Yeah, so program searches. So here are some resources for you. Ontario colleges, which I showed you, universitystudy.ca. That's a great one too, to search for programs. And under our website, Student Success, if you look for career cruising, that's a great database too for exploring. Mm-hmm.
Carrie, I think you might need to reshare the screen. Are you back on the presentation?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I've been missing that. Let me stop share and go back to share. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, everyone. I've been sort of talking away and not realizing. Bear with me. Okay, talk about learning on the job. This is sort of one of the things, is learning the technical, and I think everyone's learning online, remote presentation skills to learn for. Sorry about that. So Rachel, do you know how far back I should go?
I would, yeah, probably just go back.
School of Life, I can't quite remember how far I went. Some of these things I think are fine. Yeah, skills. Everyone will be getting the presentation. So I think most of the things I was talking about when you weren't seeing the screen were just text-based, but I will show you the one with how things looked. There you go. The resume is probably one that you wanted to look at.
That's perfect. And then someone just asked if we can go over the links once you get to that page again.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, so this is what it's, sorry about that. This is what it's going to look like, or potentially what it could look like. So if you're wondering what do employers think, how do I present it? There are ways, I guess, is to sort of, you can present it like this. And there's lots of advantages to, just showcasing that you are interested in keeping developing yourself is something that employers really like to see. And here's the resource page. So Ontario Colleges, University Study, and the Career Cruising on the Student Success site. Those are great ones if you want to explore options. And then some of those self-directed learning options. So LinkedIn Learning, which you have access to as a university student through McMaster's account, which is great. Take advantage of it while you can. There's some great short courses that you can self-study. I really like these self-directed courses and free courses too, if you want to just explore. So if you're curious about coding, you've never had a chance to do coding, you can pick it up. Or if you want to learn a little bit more about Photoshop or any of these wonderful digital technical skills that are needed, it's a great way to sort of try it out or advance your skills. So if you know Excel a little bit, get better at it, and you can take these courses this way. And then we have supports to help you. So we do have career counseling available for all undergraduate students and alumni from all faculty. And you can book appointments, career and further education planning, or there's some short 20-minute ones as well. And then we also have virtual career drop-ins every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have a career planning essentials course, which is a self-paced course about career planning. We have these digital challenge cards, which are a lot of fun if you're trying to figure out what you want to do and what's the focus of where you want you put your energies in your career. This is a nice tool to try. You can find it on our website, digital challenge cards. And then there's some information about virtual drop-ins. You can find those on our event page, and some more resources. You'll get all this. And then our further education fair that's coming up on October the 21st and the 22nd. So we will have quite a few colleges there presenting about the graduate certificates. So definitely a great opportunity to go and talk to those representatives a little bit more about the range of programs they offer, as well as any admission questions that you have, especially around maybe some changes with COVID and how their application might vary, or what the demand might look like for that. And I think I'm at the end. So I think I'm ready for any questions if there are any.
So far, we've just had one question come through, and someone's wondering what your educational background is to get the job you have today. So as a career counselor.
Oh, me. Yeah, so I did my master's in counseling psychology from McGill University. And so I'm a counselor by trade, I guess, but then I focused more on career counseling after my master's degree. But you can also do a career development practitioner certificate, which is one of those graduate certificates, and you can do that at George Brown and Conestoga College. So those are great. Those are great certificates too, because part of the program is a practicum placement. And we actually have someone doing a placement with our office now from one of those programs. Yeah. And any other questions?
No, I haven't seen any other questions come through. If you have any questions and you want to use the Q&A feature to do that.
Yeah, I think the big thing for is I really hope people walk away from this presentation knowing that there are options. You just need to know where to look, but also think about what you need, what's important for you. The other thing about these certificates too is a lot of them are very flexible, that you can work and do this part-time. So they are really set up as a more of a professional development for adults. And the other thing too is quite nice is that you can kind of just learn for the learning's sake of it to help you move on or launch your career a little bit that way.
So someone's just asked to pursue SLP. Is there any diploma program?
Speech language pathology. There's an assistant program that you could look at. So that would be maybe as a stepping stone sometimes to get experience in the field. You could look at doing one of their college programs. I don't know how long it is. Sometimes those college programs, if they don't have a graduate certificate, you can look to see if they have an accelerated or fast track option. And if it's accelerated or fast track, sometimes it's just you just do a continual, like, you know, you do like 3 or 4 terms all in a row. So that might be a stepping stone to getting experience, and then you'd have to, but to be a speech language pathologist, that is a registered profession, and you do need a master's for that program.
And someone just asked, would it make sense to take one of these graduate certificate programs before applying to grad school?
It depends on your area. Sometimes it's a great way to build that experience, build that exposure, launch yourself into the career field. And then you can see from there if you want to continue on and do more masters or higher education or more education. You know, sometimes when you're out working, you have a better sense of what direction you want to go, and you can sort of navigate a little bit better or a little bit more confidently, because you might know what you're good at a little bit, or you might know some new areas. The thing with going on to a master's program is it is more focused. So it is kind of an important area to make sure it is something that you know is important for you, or good for you. A lot of people go on and do their master's years later. And that's one thing about further education now, is that people are entering it from all ages, all different approaches, taking gap years, doing grad studies, doing PhDs when they're 60. You know, there is just really nice diversity now, and there are a lot more options.
So a few people have very specific questions, but what would you recommend for those individuals?
I'll see, maybe I'll try to do them rapid fire.
Okay,
I
sure.
see there's only a few, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So do you have any diploma programs related to autism that you know of?
Yes, that there's, I think Mohawk has a program, George Brown, Sheridan, I think too. Definitely go to the Ontario Colleges site and look up the graduate certificates, and I think you'll find some there. Yeah.
And then someone is currently getting a degree in biology, physiology, and they're interested in nutrition. What would be a good next step? They're in 3rd year.
3rd year. Yeah, so a couple things to look for nutrition. So to be a registered dietitian, you do need to look at very specific programs. So that would be through Guelph, Ryerson, and Western. But if it's nutrition, there are some certificates or self-study you could look at. And then you'd have to, that one I would have to think about where you might want to work. Like I think there's diabetes educator certificates you can look at. Yeah, that one I would say maybe either go to a virtual drop-in or book a career counseling appointment. I think it's career and education planning appointment, and we might need to just sit down and chat a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm.
And then someone is graduating with a life science degree with a minor in psychology. They know that most grad school programs for psychology are very competitive. Are there certificate programs available within psychology?
Yeah, I think there's a couple certificates like in addiction studies. McMaster has an addiction studies certificate. There's, I think, concurrent disorders certificates. One stepping stone could be there's a child and youth counselor accelerated programs that you can look at, and that gives you some experience as well as a bit of a designation. You could also look at a social service worker, which is a one-year accelerated social service worker diploma or certificate. And then that gets you in as part of the College of Registered Social Workers and Social Service Workers, which might get you some experience, you know, doing case management or working in sort of some community areas. Some fields in psychology or like counseling therapy, though, you would need to think about doing a master's level training. But you could also look at maybe that second degree in social work might be an option. But definitely the certificates, I think I've seen a couple graduate certificates at the colleges, so you could check there. Mm-hmm.
Are there any programs that would be good for someone who wants to be a coordinator in a long-term care?
Oh, yeah, I think there is I think I saw one through Fanshawe College, or I think one of the colleges, and some of them are online and professional. So that's really nice now. Even before COVID, there were some like online options were nice if there is a program that you don't necessarily want to move for, but you still want to access. And I think I did see that in the Ontario College's graduate certificate. I think it's called Healthcare Administrator Certificate, and it might be specific to the elder, the senior care area. And also you maybe look up some professional associations too, like Senior Care Administrators Association. Sometimes I just Google the area plus association and see what comes up, and check those association sites to see if they have a listing of certificates or programs. Mm-hmm.
And just a final comment, someone said it's just they're super appreciative of the information and guidance that you offered. So thanks, Gary.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for that. That's nice. It's always hard sort of looking into the screen. So thank you for that comment. Appreciate that. Okay, so we'll finish off. Or any other questions?
Nope, that's all.
No. Okay. Well, enjoy the rest of your reading week, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we've got, just connect with the Student Success Center on our website, our further education fair, and as well as our virtual drop-ins or any of our other events. We're here to help. So, and you have options. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.